Welcome to this week's edition of Dunstan Kiwi Bred. Coming up over the next half hour, we're at Windsor Park Stud, where freshman sire Sham Express is settling into his new role, and we head to Cambridge Stud to check on the progress of resident sire Tavistock. But first up, we take a look at who took home the breeding spoils at last month's New Zealand Thoroughbred Horse of the Year Awards. The 2014 New Zealand Horse of the Year Awards were announced last month at the Claudelands Event Centre in Hamilton, and once again O'Reilly was the star of the night. The Waikato stud-based stallion took top honours in all three of the New Zealand Stallion Awards. Not only was he the first stallion to achieve this feat last season, but he's now gone back-to-back. The first of the three trophies was the Broodmare Award, presented to the stallion whose progenies amassed the most stakes earnings in New Zealand. O'Reilly ended the season over $600,000 clear of Darcy Brahma, thanks to the efforts of Group 1 winning juvenile O'Marilyn. The Doer Award was presented to the stallion whose offspring have accumulated the highest stakes earnings in Australasia. For the third time in his distinguished career, the award went to O'Reilly. Group 1 success by both Silent Achiever and Sacred Falls left O'Reilly with combined Australian and New Zealand earnings almost $3 million clear of High Chaparral, giving him a commanding victory.
Well, it's a remarkable third time for the Doer Award. I mean, Mark, I thought it was opportune at this point to maybe reflect on O'Reilly as a racehorse. We know what he's doing, his deeds in the Stallion Barn, but what was it about him as a racehorse that stood out to you?
Well, obviously, we talked about it at the time that he really did capture the imagination of the public and of everybody. He was a brilliant horse. Dave O'Sullivan still says that he was probably one of the best horses that he trained, and that we never saw the absolute best of him. And you did right. It's quite interesting to go back because we've been putting a little video together lately, and we watched some of his racing just recently, and obviously some 15, 16, 17 years ago, you forget how brilliant a racehorse he actually was.
With worldwide progeny earnings of nearly $14 million, O'Reilly dominated this year's Sentain Award. International successes included War Affair posting his first Group 1 success in Singapore.
What's that? I think 6 times this award's been presented, and half of the times he's won it.
Yeah, certainly. He's done a wonderful job, and obviously recognising horses locally, but also Sacred Falls and Silent Achiever and Warhorse in Singapore. And once again, I touch on the people that are in this room that have bred those horses, and the success of O'Reilly and what they've bred is it's extremely satisfying.
To sweep the awards is just shows the domination that he's got, doesn't it? To do it 2 years in a row, how special?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, last year was a huge achievement and the first horse ever to do it. And this year to do it with this award in particular at 13 million in stakes, it's pretty incredible.
You've been with him a long way through. I guess you've become pretty good mates with him over the years. What's the real O'Reilly like to you?
He's an absolute beauty. He's got a lot of character, but he just gets on with life, and he's pretty easy to run. And we're very fortunate to have had the experience with him over the last 20-odd years.
Nominations for this year's New Zealand Broodmare of the Year included Redute's Choice mare Iguazu's Girl, the dam of this year's Doncaster Mile winner, multiple Group 1 victor Sacred Falls. Winning Spree earned her place in the category after a phenomenal season with her daughter Silent Achiever, who claimed the Group 1 New Zealand Stakes before heading across to Australia, adding the Ranvit and the BMW to her Group 1 haul. Zabeel mare Star Real joined the lineup thanks to New Zealand Horse of the Year Dundeel, who was retired to Arrowfield Stud earlier this year. Dundeel claimed victories in the Group 1 Underwood and Group 1 Queen Elizabeth Stakes before his retirement. Star Real took home this year's honours, making it a big night for owners Murray and Joe Anderson.
Your broodmare to be crowned Broodmare of the Year after a lifetime of breeding, that must be an absolute thrill.
Very special, very special. I'm only a small breeder, 1 or 2 mares a year up until now, and to breed a horse like Dundeel's been sensational.
Well, it took over 6 years ago. You made the call to visit a stallion called High Chaparral. Tell us how that came to pass.
Well, I only have to choose 1 or 2 stallions a year, and I think he was probably the best performed horse to come to New Zealand. He stood at a very reasonable price, and I just liked everything about him.
Nominees for this year's Breeder of the Year included Gary Chittick, Little Avondale stud, Murray and Joe Anderson and Kevin Hickman. Gary Chittick's no stranger to this award, having won it on 5 previous occasions. This season, Chittick bred 19 stakes performers throughout Australasia and Asia, including Group 1 performers Sacred Falls and Costume. Murray and Joe Anderson received a nomination based on the performance of champion racehorse Dundeel, and Little Avondale stud earned their place in the lineup after breeding Group 1 winners Xanadu and Viadana and Group 1 performer Savvy Nature. But it was Kevin Hickman who came out on top after his boutique operation Valachi Downs bred Group 1 winning 2-year-old Vespa and multiple Group 1 winner Silent Achiever. This capped off a successful night for Hickman, who was also named this year's Owner of the Year.
Kevin, congratulations. What you set up Valachi Downs, 2006, and to be Breeder of the Year in such a short space of time, how's that possible?
Oh, it's lovely, but you'd have to toss a coin for that one, I think, and we were the lucky ones.
Okay. For you, I guess the absolute chief flag bearers have been Silent Achiever and Vespa, but you've bred a whole lot of winners throughout the season, but especially those two. How's it been sort of watching them develop as racehorses?
Oh, fantastic. I think the breeding is great, and we follow the horses we breed pretty closely, and we get as much a kick out of that as the ones that we race ourselves. So.
All breeders have their theories. What's yours?
I don't want to bore everyone.
Just quickly.
I think it's a combination of a number of things. You've got to sort out the top stallions and patronise them to a degree, and get your sex balance and all that sort of thing sorted out, but everyone's got their own theories, so we'll leave it at that.